Adrian.
Good Shabbos.
What's the difference front of back?
Adrian, Robert.
Like a shot, yeah, like a shadow. It's not.
Adrian.
I moved it a little closer to me. Anything else? Okay.
Oh, let me get the
I see.
prayer
Okay,
question.
thanks again.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I have just muted everybody so that we don't have, the background noise. But welcome, welcome. It is so wonderful to be together for Shabbat. If you have been deeply immersed in Passover preparations, I'm glad that you've stepped away from it for some Shabbat time. So let's just take a moment. We're heading into so much holy time. Shabbat followed immediately by Passover. The first night Seder is tomorrow night. If you're celebrating a second night, it's Sunday night. We have Shabbat services tomorrow morning and festival morning services on Sunday. So much holy time that we're entering into. So if you have been feeling frazzled with the preparation, or if you have been feeling sad that there isn't the same preparation that there is in some other years, or that there isn't the same travel or the same people, let's just take a breath and try to put those feelings aside for now. If you want to feel around inside your body, look for the places where you're feeling tension, and on your next breath, when you exhale, try to release that tension. I'm sitting in front of an open window with a cool breeze coming in that feels like spring. And that's so lovely. I am enjoying it so much. And we enter into Shabbat time. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. To light the candles for Shabbat evening, I'd like to invite Diane Schenker. You need to unmute yourself, Diane. Diane, you need to unmute.
Okay?
Yes.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Amen. And you lit the candles, right?
Yes, I just lit them.
Fantastic.
There it is.
Woo. So we turn now to the Kiddush. If you have a prayer book, it's on page 123 in the bracketed numbers. And it's my pleasure to invite Lester Schenker to read the English for us.
Okay, we're changing seats.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
Just 1 second, please. The old man.
Take your time.
All right, just a minute.
This is the equivalent of walking up onto the bima.
True.
Okay. Praise the Lord. Okay. Where am I? Here I am. Alrighty, all set. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you have made the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies the Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Melech, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yahavo v'ratzon inhilanu, zikaron l'ma'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, קיוונו בחרת, אותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Beloved, let's join our spirits together and send them out to greet the Shabbat bride and bring her back with us into our own sanctuaries. We continue with Lecha Dodi. If you have a prayer book, it's on page 138 in the bracketed numbers.
Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zacho b'dibor echad, ishmi anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem ultiferet v'litihila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoriri, hitoriri, ki vorech kumi ori, אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי 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 בני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי 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 בני שבת נקבלה.
We continue with the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. I invite you, if you're able, to rise. Page 146.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך המבורך לעולם ועד המבורך המבורך לעולם
I invite you to read with me. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונזמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי כן חיינו באורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה נגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
We continue with the Shema, page 152 in the prayer book.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Let's be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
I invite you to read with me. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. You need to unmute, Noni.
Don't need to do that. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neidar b'kodesh, norati lo tosefele, norati lo tosefele. Malechotecha ra'uvanecha, b'kei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam zili, anu ve'amru zili, anu ve'amru Adonai Meloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai Meloch le'olam va'ed.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We have come to the tefillah, and this Shabbat is the last Shabbat where we say Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem as part of our tefillah. Starting on the first day of Passover, we're going to switch over to the summer insertion, which is Morid Hatal. So get ready to pray for rain for the last Shabbat for a while. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Adonai, Sephatai tiftach ufi tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagdol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Tekonei Hakol, Ezocher Chastevot v'Imahot, Umevi Geulah Livnei v'Nehem. Heidi, I'm going to stop for a minute. Can you continue? Lightheaded.
Leman shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayeh hakol atah rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal givurot, ומדום אלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה
Adonai,
מחיה
הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום, יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Let's be seated. Noni, are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I think I'm in a warm room and I'm like over singing and a little like hyperventilated, but I'm fine. But I just started to feel like a little woozy, but
Okay.
I'm good.
I'm glad. I'd like to invite people to read with me. If you have a prayer book, it's page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah, na'avod. We have come to modim, our blessing of gratitude. And so I would like to invite you to put into the chat anything that you're feeling grateful for, or you could also unmute yourself and say it out loud. So it looks like Linda Horowitz has unmuted. Do you have something that you're grateful for today?
Yes, I want to mention two things. Faith and I both got our second vaccines yesterday. So we're on our way. I ran a slight fever today. I had chills and I think it was 100. It's not a big deal, but I'm fine, as you could see. And the other thing is, out of 6 laptops, 5 was effective and returned, and 1 was reordered today, finally.
Wow.
So I'm grateful for my sanity.
All right. I'm grateful for your sanity too. Modim anachnu lach. Alan Zaro says his second COVID shot was successful and he is grateful to Ike, who I assume gave him the shot, wherever Ike. Oh, no, not Ike. No, Ike didn't give him the shot. Do you mean Eisenhower? Are you talking about Eisenhower?
No. The Ike that sometimes comes into services, he gave me the lead. Way to go.
Oh, excellent. Okay, great. So thank you to Ike, who sometimes comes to services, but isn't here tonight, but who helped Alan out. Awesome. It's good to have that gratitude. Mickey Platt.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I got my second shot this evening.
You got your second shot this evening. That's wonderful. I'm so glad. I hope that it doesn't have bad side effects for you.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm here.
So am I. Robert Rothman is grateful for spring, and Roseanne Levitt is grateful for her second shot with only a sore arm side effect and for a dentist visit and no cavities. Catherine is also grateful for days like today. Linda Kushner-Silverman also had a dentist situation and is grateful that went very well and was easy peasy. I'm hearing from, who am I hearing? I don't know what I'm hearing. Elaine, why don't you go ahead?
Sounds like an echo.
I'm grateful a day ahead of time that I arranged on Zoom to have 4 states, Greece and Spain, all on Zoom tomorrow night for our Seder. And just hope it works out. I sent out all the different parts of it and hopefully everybody will pick their part and we'll do it. Diane, you look verblinded. You look confused by that. I just hope it works out.
I hope so too. Yeah, that's great. You're so well organized. That's awesome.
Not really.
Not really?
A lot of work.
Okay, sounds organized to me.
I'm impressed.
A chicken with my head cut off these last few days.
I know.
Joyce Kantrowitz.
I am so grateful and thankful for watching my children prepare for the Seder, making the kugels and making the everything. They work together so beautifully. And I didn't do very much, I admit, but I have done in earlier years. And I crumbled up the matzah, like to make it like waffle. And that's about all I did. I'm not taking any credit.
Sounds good to me.
Any credit for anything that I didn't do. So I am very grateful, very happy, and we plan to have our Seder outside tomorrow a little earlier with all of the grandchildren and great-grandchildren here. And I'm very happy about that. And we've all had our inoculations, but we're going to have separate tables so that for different ages. So there's no chance of giving anything that anybody doesn't want. Okay, so thank you.
All right. Thank you, Joyce. I am sure that you have pulled your weight in Seder preparation over your many years. And I think separate tables for people of different ages is a time-honored tradition, if only because the main table was never big enough for all of the children, right? Okay, back to the chat. Charlotte is happy to be preparing for Passover once again. So modim nachnu lach for preparing for Passover. Karen Kramer was grateful to speak to various family members today and wish them a happy Passover. Nathan Schrader is grateful for delicious food and more to come. Oh yeah. Janice Isa says her son is feeling better after having a second shock. I hope you mean shot from COVID. Okay, good. Noni is saying she's grateful to open a window and let air into the room. I am also sitting in front of an open window, which is quite lovely. Janet Schlesinger is glad to be able to spend Passover with her mom. That is just wonderful. Jessica Schulman is grateful that her daughter-in-law and grandson are reunited with her son in Korea. So that whole family is together. So modim nachnu lach for all of that. Gail and Bob.
Yeah. Okay. I am grateful that I had a lovely afternoon with Diane Figueroa at her house in person. And we finally got to meet, and she was amazed that I'm much shorter than I look on Zoom. So I told her I sit up tall. And I'm also very grateful that we're going to have an in-person second night Seder with two of our close friends who also have had their second shots. So a lot to be thankful for, getting back to some in-person socialization.
Oh, yes, indeed. Modim nachnu lach for that. Diane Schenker.
I'm grateful that we're having our son-in-law and daughter come to celebrate with us tomorrow. It's just so strange because we normally have 30 people for this holiday. But Robin and Neil are coming through for us.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be just 4 of us in person and then a bunch of people on Zoom. And that is not the way it usually is. We usually pack 29 or 30 people in here. So yeah, but modim nachnu lach for what we are able to do this year.
Right.
Thank you, Diane. Mona.
My grandson Alexander called me, which he never does. So when he does, I said, Alexander, what's the good news? And he was accepted to Berkeley. Yeah,
That's great news. Modim nachnu lach, and good for him. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything that you want to share that you're grateful for today? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We continue with our prayer for peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael anocha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael anocha, tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon לכל השלום, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם.
Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. And now we continue quietly. If you have a prayer book, there are words on pages 180 and 181. If you can see the screen, there are some words on the screen, but of course we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי,
May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. We turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. If you have any names of people for whom you are praying for healing that you did not send into the office, please put those into the chat, or I'll give you a chance to unmute yourself and say them out loud. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing this evening Jesse Sakharoff, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Allison Plummer, Patty Ann Cubero, Ellen Belofsky, Meg Goldate, Mady Rosenbaum, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Alan Fremer, Susan Bilecki, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Arlene Rosenthal, Michael Luck, Barbara Weiner, Andy Glantzman, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Ira and Deanna Roth, Roz Borenstein, Dolores Weinberger, Ingrid Grosso, Roberta Gotthelf, Audrey Cohen, Fran Sisler, Jesse Ryback, Eddie DeAngelis, Richard Cherry, Ira Goldman, Vicky Lightnaker, Sarah Brooks Kamen, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Richie Stein, Jeff Abel, Harold Gleberman, Suzanne Leknos, Florence Schoen, Jules Feldman, Esther Bat-Lucy, Roz Zuckerman, Paul Kastick, Les Schenker, Katie Schenker, Dr. Jack Egnatinsky, Roberta Hayrath, Marilyn Birnbaum, Robin and Neil Parr, Roz Solomon, Joan Lifshitz, Stacy David and Wilma Mauser, Hannah Paines, Christina Leknos, Ellen Hoyt, Margot Zittin, Stuart Armstrong, Della Cohen, Maxine Breland, Iris Merlis, Regina Stein, Monica Adius, Steph Adius, Michelle Newsomovisi, Kimberly, Davy and Braden Finnegan, Claire Cyber, Ariana Winnower Stein, Marlene Unterberger, Freya Kashmir, Delphine Wolf, Rita and Perry Kravitz, Jeannie Greenberg, Florence Greenberg, Bill McShane, Jacques Cohen, and Linda Kushner Silverman. Sal Camiso, Kay Bonani, Edith Gilitos, Eva Rotelli, Judith Kors, Linda Lebin, Michael Moore, Dave Stanger, Elliot Woofsey, Cindy Nathanson, members of the NYPD who are in need of healing, Suzanne Mishler Hernandez, Joan Lifshutz, Beverly Dankowitz, Bobby and Dan, David and Marilyn, Sam and Isaac Sarfati, Pat Martin, Amy Bona Cohen, Amy Bona, Jackson and Tara Kushner, Shelley Samet, Stanley Tenen, Camille McGinnis, David Gershon, Ronnie Katlowitz, Joel Secundi, the family and friends of all of the victims of this week's shooting in Boulder, Colorado, and the Boulder community. Mary Lou?
Zizi Potsdam, Brenda McBasey, Brenda Katroser, Maddie Rosenberg, Eve Heyman, Estelle Altork, my husband Ron Cricky, my niece Laura Cricky, and my aunt Susan Vi.
Mm-hmm. Emma Rose?
My sister Sophie Tuttleman and all the members of the Asian American community from the shooting at the spas.
In Atlanta, yes, thank you for that. Anyone else? Okay, we also include all of those who are suffering from COVID-19 or from measures we've taken to slow the spread of the virus. We include those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, and those who have been harmed in recent disasters, whether natural or human created. And I have one more name to add, and that is Logan.
Mi sheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Well, Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. This week's Torah portion, Tzav, continues to give instructions for how the priests are to handle sacrifices, including which portions of those sacrifices belong to the priests. This was a ritual that was clearly very important, and it had to be done correctly. How the sacrifice was performed is as important as the fact that the sacrifice was made at all. Our Torah portion also describes the procedure for ordaining the priests. Almost at the end of the portion, the text says that the ordination of Aaron and his sons as priests will take 7 days, a full week, during which time they must stay in the entrance of the tent of meeting. Moses says, "You shall remain at the entrance of the tent of meeting day and night for 7 days, keeping the eternal's charge, that you may not die. For so I have been commanded." There are other Torah portions too, in which instructions for ritual in the tabernacle include the statement, "that you may not die." The implication is that what the priests are doing is dangerous, and if they don't do it correctly, they might not survive it. Indeed, later, when the first sacrifices are performed, Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, don't do them as described, and so they do die. Now, I don't see this as God punishing them, nor do I think that the statement, "that you may not die," is a threat of punishment, but it is a warning. It is a reminder that
Continuous.
Right.
It is a reminder that being in close proximity to God, to God's presence, is just dangerous because of the power of God. And therefore, anyone near God's presence must be meticulous and do everything right in order to be safe. Here, the idea is not so much that God wants the rituals to be done in a certain way, but that they must be done in a certain way, or frail humans will not survive the encounter. There are analogous situations in our world today. In hospitals, if surgeons do not follow every step in a complicated process, people die. Nevertheless, many hospitals and surgeons have had trouble because there are so many details that must not be forgotten. In his book, The Checklist Manifesto, Dr. Atul Gawande discusses how complex many jobs have become and describes a study he did to make surgeries safer by implementing checklists for the surgeons to complete during every procedure. And it had a dramatic positive impact. As with the priests of the tabernacle, modern surgeons, whether they use a checklist or not, must follow exactly the way they've learned to do the surgery, or lest people die. Pilots and airplane mechanics also must be meticulous in checking airplanes over before they take flight. I know most of us haven't been able to fly anywhere in the past year, but nevertheless, it's still true. Small oversights can lead to mechanical failures and crashes that can end the lives of many people. Those responsible for the plane must follow the rituals of checking the aircraft and the rituals of takeoff and landing exactly, lest people die. We too do rituals nearly every day that must be performed correctly, lest we die. We might not think of them as rituals. I do know people who say that they have to have their coffee every morning lest someone die. Now that's a joke, but when we're crossing the street, looking left, right, and then left again isn't a joke. We'd better do it lest we die by being hit by a car. If we drive, there is a series of steps, not in a rigid order like the steps of a sacrifice, but the steps are important. Looking before pulling out of a parking space, checking mirrors while driving, especially when changing lanes, stopping at red lights and stop signs, even within the boundaries of New York City, making sure other cars are not coming before you continue. Motor vehicles are powerful and dangerous and must be operated and interacted with in specific ways, or people are hurt and die. And We have adopted some new rituals over the past year, lest we die. We wear masks in public. We try to keep 6 feet away from others. We stay home as much as we can. We have seen ample evidence that it is indeed potentially life-threatening not to take these precautions. We didn't choose to be in this situation any more than Aaron and his sons and grandsons chose to be priests. Nevertheless, lest we die, we have to live this way. Many people have referred to the COVID-19 pandemic as a modern day plague, analogous to the plagues in the Exodus story that we will tell on Saturday and Sunday evenings. I agree with my friend Rabbi Michael Bernstein, who wrote a year ago that this is not a plague, because a plague is a punishment from God and the pandemic is not. And indeed, I don't believe that the pandemic is a punishment for God. But for many of us, it might still inform the way that we think about the plagues as we talk about them over our probably much less crowded than usual Seder tables. Meanwhile, even with more and more of us having opportunities to be vaccinated, we must continue to be cautious. Our new rituals of safety may yet be with us for quite some time. Many of these things may not sound spiritual or religious, but our tradition is as practical and down to earth as it is spiritual. One of the most important things that we can do is save a life, and that includes our own lives and the lives of those we love, in part by taking care, by paying attention, and by observing rituals that mean we are less likely to get in a car accident or catch COVID or give it to someone else. May we be mindful of our safety in reasonable ways. May we not live in fear, but may we never forget to be respectful of the potentially dangerous forces in our lives. And may we continue safe. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
Tonight's anthem is a Passover song written by Debbie Friedman, and it's called Pass Over the Water for Passover. And the text speaks to this moment as we look forward to resuming our lives that were so interrupted a year ago.
Come right in, come into the water, come right in, and we'll cross the sea. Come right in, pass over the water, pass over the water, we're going to be free. Come right in, come into the water, come right in, and we'll cross the sea. Come right in, pass over the water, pass over the water, we're going to be free. Into the water, first up to our knees. Into the water we go, you and me. Moses will lead and we'll all cross the sea to be free on the other side. Into the water the sea parts in two. Into the water we go, me and you. Miriam will dance and we'll all have a chance to be free on the other side. Come right in, come into the water, come right in, and we'll cross the sea. Come right in, pass over the water, pass over the water, we're going to be free.
That was really beautiful. We turn now to the Elenu. If you have a prayer book, it begins on page 586. And I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Let's be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. If there's anyone for whom you are saying the Mourner's Kaddish today, whose name you did not send in to Alice at the office, I invite you to add those names in the chat, or I'll give you an opportunity to add the names out loud at the end. We remember those who have died in the past year. Lloyd Ricketts, Ellie Heimlich, Sherry Burns, Terry Singer, Henry Kuhn, Lily Zimmett, Bob Perlman, Ira Berkowitz, Bayumi Mohammed, Amy Zisovic, Mary Holland, Dorothy Webster, Robert Allen Santos Sr., Robert Bonenfant, Barry Strumpf, Judy Epstein, Dorothy Mason, Judy Panzer, Barry Ween, Charlotte Brown, David Schachter, Douglas Maines, Devorah Lewis, Tria Sapir, Jane Evans, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Manny Pastor, Ruth Rubin, Harris Reese, Emerson Berger, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Carolyn McNamara, Marion McGivney, Ronnie Turek, Michaela Schaefer, Helen Zagerman-Schwimmer, Ido Sheffi, Elaine Gordet, Dr. Stephen Kamholtz, Carol Gross, Carol Andre, Robert Serpico, Jeanette Riley, Melvin Barish, William Lamp, Ina Sandals, Martin Shankin, Solomon Tettelbaum, Howard Jenkelowitz, Sean Singer, Jeff Harris, Sammy Berger, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Chaim Braunzweig, Harry Baylor, Benjamin W. Schaefer, Shirley Hyatt Tobias, Myron Klein, Ted Tobias, Rita Belay, Jay Jankelowitz, and it's the first yahrzeit of Sandy Gannon Abel. Also, I'd like to include Yafet Koto, the 7 women and 1 man who were murdered in the spas in Atlanta, and those who were shot and murdered in the grocery store shooting in Boulder, Colorado. And I've heard today that the author Beverly Cleary has died at the age of 104. On our yahrzeit list this week, which I will display on the screen, as I mentioned, it's Sandy Gannon Abel's first yahrzeit, and she was a friend of Fran and Sam Silverman. Jacob Drucker was Elliot Drucker's father, Henrietta Gluckman was Sheldon Greenberg's mother-in-law. Mark Koser was a relative of Roz Baylor. Millie Sharkey was Deborah Sharkey's mother. Erwin Silverberg was Yvette Pomeranz's uncle. Aaron Silverman was Sam Silverman's uncle. Leon Tigler was David Olesov's uncle. And Luby Wax was Milton Platt's sister. Let's see, let me look in the chat. We include also Yvonne, Ruth Bierman, Dr. Sam Rothman. Yvonne's last name is Maxwell, so Yvonne Maxwell. Nancy Connor, Leatrice Langer, Inga Probetsky, Kevin McCarthy, Pete Martin, Dieter Daum, Myron Spitz, and Dr. Samuel Rothman, who Robert had mentioned earlier. Emma Rose.
Portia Armbruster, my neighbor.
Mary Lou.
No one today, thank you. Sorry if I had my hand up.
I saw that you were unmuted, so I thought perhaps you had a name to add. Noni?
Yeah, my father, Cedric Schuster.
Charlotte?
Yes, 3 names on the yurtsite list. Benjamin Krales was a good friend. Harriet Cronish was a temple member back in the Avenue R days. She was a lovely lady. And Aaron Silverman is the uncle of Sam Silverman.
Thank you. Lori Silverman is including her mother, Marilyn Gallen. Anybody else? Okay. We also include all of those around the world who have died from COVID-19 and those who have died from other causes, whether in war or famine or terror or disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. If you have a prayer book, the Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598, and I invite you to rise if you're able and join in. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei tekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, dam yiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Elenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say, Amen. Let's be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
I would like to invite our president, Eric Platt, to give us the announcements.
Good Shabbos. I hope you all enjoyed the wonderful weather today. For me, I was indoors most of the day. I went to go outside, put on my jacket, saw people without jackets, and was wondering what was going on because I had no idea that it was 75 degrees outside. So I hope you all got a chance to enjoy the beautiful weather today. Tomorrow we continue Shabbat at 9:45. Rabbi Hoover will be doing Biyakad, and followed by services at 11 o'clock. Then on Sunday, for those of you that don't have plans for a second Seder anywhere, please come to our Seder, which is at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. And I think the information was sent to you earlier yesterday or earlier today with the Zoom link. Please, it gives us a chance as a temple family to celebrate the holiday together. Also, this week, we always get a chance to celebrate celebrate Passover together a second time. This year, it's the sixth night of Passover. The women of Beshert, a sisterhood organization, is having their annual Women's Seder on that evening. So please come to that also, so that you have a chance to be with your temple family twice during the holiday. Next weekend, on Shabbat, on Friday night, Rabbi Hoover will have her poetry session at 7 o'clock, followed by services at 8, and then on Saturday, is it Saturday or? And that service will also have Yizkor. Am I correct?
That Saturday service, yes. That'll be
Yes.
a festival morning service with Yizkor.
So that will have Yizkor. So please try to attend.
And did you mention the first day festival morning service?
No, I forgot.
Okay, so that's this Sunday at 10:30 in the morning. It's the same Zoom link as for tomorrow's Saturday service. I thought that
Okay.
would just be easy. And
Yeah.
also, I'm going to send out the Haggadah for Sunday evening, probably on Sunday. I'll send a PDF of the Haggadah.
Okay. Also, well, we have lots of things planned for the month. So please look at Rabbi Hoover's happenings that she sent out, and also the Voice of Truth will be coming out soon, so you'll get to see that. And I have to mention the women of Beshert. The Seder is this Thursday night, April 1st at 7 o'clock. Also, I want to encourage you all to come to the Nefesh Mountain concert on Saturday night, May 8th. I could tell you that the first time I saw Nefesh Mountain was when I went to the URJ Biennial in Boston in 2017. And the music is very lively and spiritual, and you will enjoy it. You won't go away unhappy if you come see this concert. It is really wonderful music. I've become such a fan that you can find me in my car with their album, listening to their music. It really uplifts you. So please come, please invite your friends, and please donate as much as you can because it is a fundraiser for us. So starting at $18. So please, I encourage you to come. Shabbat Shalom and a Sisin Pesach to all.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Eric. I'll add that I was a fan of Mama Donnie before there even was a Nefesh Mountain. Mama Donnie came a couple of times and performed at Temple Beth Emeth, and it was an amazing rockin' good time. She's an incredible performer. And I think she had more or less the same band, but then she married one of her band members and became Nefesh Mountain. So that's that whole story.
Well, Eric Lindbergh, who's her husband now,
yes,
is from Brooklyn. So,
and he was in her band when it was just Mama Donnie.
Yeah, and he's an amazing musician.
Indeed.
Guitar and
Speaking of-
banjo. So
Speaking of amazing musicians, closing song.
Thanks for that. We're going to sing Let My People Go, getting ready for Pesach.
When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. Thus saith the Lord, bold Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. No more shall they in bondage toil. Let my people go. Let them come out with Egypt's spoil. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha. Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach tomorrow.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.